Today on Dr. Phil, her kids live with her parents.
They want me to look incompetent. Therefore, they can gain custody of my children.
Her family says she's mentally ill.
Jenny is volatile, manic.
My mom's talking nonsense a lot of the time.
Fear, shame, guilt, judgment. Big star and little star, Indian princesses. You know what I mean?
Or is she stable enough
Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you?
to get her children back?
I feel in a daze, and I look like an idiot. I know right now. Whatever. You know what? They took my daughter because they said I was a perpetrator of domestic violence.
Jennifer, the only person that's brought up you being a perpetrator is you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. At the center of the family drama today is 40-year-old Jennifer, who says she once traveled to Paris at 18 to be a teenage model. Jennifer also says she is a wonderful mother to her children.
I have always been a good person, and I love all of my children, and I would do anything for them.
These are Jennifer's parents, Ann and Charles, who have a very different view of their daughter. They say Jennifer is mentally ill and has put her 6-year-old daughter in danger.
My daughter is completely unstable.
We had no choice but to rescue our grandchildren.
Jennifer's 18-year-old daughter, Sarah, sides with her grandparents.
My mom does crazy things and she behaves crazy. I think she's mentally unstable.
And Jennifer's 20-year-old son, Josh, says he has excommunicated his mother for the past 2 years.
I'm very angry at her for what she's done to the family.
Now Jennifer's 3 children all live with their grandparents, Ann and Charles. But Jennifer insists everyone is wrong, and she even accuses her own parents of poisoning her children against her.
My 6-year-old daughter is living with my parents right now. I do believe that my parents have fraudulently gained custody of my daughter. My parents are claiming that I was diagnosed as bipolar and also schizophrenic. It's ugly, it's cruel, it's not true. They want me to look incompetent. Therefore, they can gain custody of my children. I also have 2 children, Sarah, who's 18, and Joshua, who's 20, who both live with my parents. We were all living together up until the spring of last year. I was divorced in 2008. My parents didn't want me to get divorced. That's why they took my children. My parents have poisoned the minds of my children against me. Right now, I barely talk to both of my parents. My dad has wanted nothing to do with me pretty much for the past 2 years. My parents are also making up stuff about me abusing a prescription that, well, I'm not using drugs right now, but I did use drugs in my past. I took Adderall because I had ADHD. I would be willing to take a drug test to prove I'm not abusing drugs. Right now, I get to see my daughter 1 day a week. I have supervised visitation. I'm a very good mother. I do deserve to parent my children, have them in my life. I want my daughter to live with me immediately. I miss her so much. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Okay, Jennifer, let me just start in here. You have 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And none of the 3 are with you.
Correct.
2 of your children are of age now, so they're able to do whatever they choose to do. But we have a daughter here that's 6 years old, correct? And she now is in the temporary custody of your parents. And you feel that you are able to take care of her and that they have fraudulently obtained custody of her.
Yes, I do.
What is the fraud?
I have never been diagnosed by any psychiatric doctors except for the one that I saw. So there's 2 diagnoses. One says I'm schizophrenic, and the other says I'm bipolar. And
Okay, but let me be very clear here, and I want to say this on behalf
Right.
of all of the people and all of the parents in America right now that would have a diagnosis of bipolar or schizophrenia. That in no way precludes you from being a quality parent.
I agree.
If you did have a diagnosis of bipolar, that would not preclude you from being a quality parent. Why would that be a basis for removing a daughter from your care?
I agree with you. That was one of the things because my
We have a letter from your doctor at the beginning of 2014 that states that your diagnosis is ADHD.
Right.
And that your prescribed medication is a form of Adderall.
I don't, correct, and I don't take that anymore.
Here's the letter. January 31st, 2014, I'm writing this letter on behalf of my patient, Jennifer, and she has been a patient of mine since 2007. I have prescribed the following medications for her: attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity, ADHD. So the diagnosis here doesn't say bipolar or schizophrenia. It says it's been your doctor for 7 years, and the diagnosis is ADHD. ADD and ADHD, it doesn't say bipolar, doesn't say schizophrenia. It says your diagnosis is ADD, ADHD. So that certainly doesn't say that you are bipolar or schizophrenic, neither of which would preclude you as a parent, even if it did say that, but it doesn't say that. So
Right.
you have right here a document from your doctor.
So what it said there, that was on record for my divorce too, and
That certainly goes to your support.
I paid for an evaluation, a current one, and a psychiatric doctor has to be a psychiatrist. That's sufficient enough to evaluate me. He had evaluated me in the past, and their reason was that they were concerned that I was abusing my prescription because it's Adderall.
But you're saying you don't even take it anymore.
No, I don't. The doctor.
But if you have this, do you not need to be taking it?
It helped me, but the thing is that you get immune to it after a while. You have to take like days off, and I felt like the doctor wanted me to go on a different medication once social services was involved.
Okay, so
And
your point
I don't
was.
want to get that. I'm
So
sorry.
one point of fraud is, well, you're kind of jumping around, which made me
know.
wonder if maybe you need to be taking.
I do, because but the thing is, here's what I'd like to say. This doctor is very prominent in his field. So why are my family questioning me just because they don't agree or they have read about people abusing it? A controlled substance you can't abuse. They track it. I had the insurance cover me. Instead of asking me, they just assume and talk about it.
All right, well, and I'm trying to help you focus on this here. So I said, what are your points that you said that they've got them by fraud? You said one is that they stated that you were bipolar and schizophrenic, which I said would not be exclusionary criteria anyway, but you have a letter here, a doctor been treating you for 7 years that does not mention that, says what else? So we have that. Okay, what else? What other fraud?
Okay. Also, too, my family was saying different things about me. I noticed, I would say almost it sounded like a program, because that I was up all night doing erratic behavior, making erroneous statements, and they all gave information that was completely negative about me, and some of it was not true at all. And basically, I was told to be a perpetrator of domestic violence. That's a serious thing because they knew that I had no record or anything, and so they agreed that I had been, no one said anything to correct the information. And also, too, that meant that when the judge looked at that.
You said you were a perpetrator of domestic violence?
Yes, I have a history of domestic violence. That's what it
A
says.
perpetrator or a victim?
Perpetrator.
But you were beating up on someone?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
were you?
No.
You never did that?
No.
Okay.
I've yelled before, and I've corrected myself. And I mean, I've been in counseling, and also there was no mention of why I was living there. That like it looked like That
Well,
what-
that's the second thing. You said that they said you were a perpetrator of domestic violence. All right, was there a third point of fraud that they brought against you that they used to leverage your daughter away from you?
I'm trying to think of everything. They said that I had been diagnosed, and I clearly have not had a record. I don't know who the doctor is, and what's said about
Diagnosed
me
with what?
with bipolar.
Well, we covered that on number
Right,
one.
but my behavior that they gave information on makes me look, it's not true. And the thing is just because I am sitting in my car so that I can avoid conflict doesn't mean I'm out partying. There were times in my life when I partied. I admit that, but I was not partying like that. I was exhausted, and I was tired of every place that I was going, everyone having something negative to say. Not once did anyone sit down and ask me what happened with my housing, how can they help like that. It seemed like everyone was gossiping behind my back, and I didn't care so much like they have to like me. But what's frustrating is that what was said to social services, even in the past, my family members have called and reported me for ridiculous things.
Okay,
And
well-
it affected me because my custody was not what they said it was also. That's another thing. They know that my parents would keep they would have my children. I feel like they wouldn't answer the phone. And when I first moved out of my place, they locked me out that night, and I had put my stuff there. And my attorney had to call the police and tell them that they can't do that. They didn't have rights. Well, why would they lock me out just because they don't like me? It's a hardship to go through when you're having that kind of thing.
You felt like you had to step in and take this child because her very life was in danger.
We have had to call the police when she comes to the door, which you know is true, Jenny.
And later, approximate cash given Jennifer over 7 years, $30,000. That all totals up, just that, to $165,900. We're going to bring your parents out here. Jennifer's parents
upset,
here,
sorry.
Ann and Charles are here. They say because their daughter Jennifer has exhibit irrational and unstable behavior that they have had to literally step in and save their grandchildren. Take a look.
Jenny is mentally ill. She lives in a fantasy world. She was diagnosed bipolar, but she doesn't want to believe it.
We never changed any of her mental history in order to gain access to the children.
Jenny is volatile, manic, moody, and irresponsible. She is always late and has trouble focusing. Those are symptoms of her mental health. She rambles on for hours.
I am a holistic health practitioner. I'm having memories as I talk to you. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do Chinese medicine. It accelerates it when they're in that energy of hatred and fear.
If she calls late at night, we have to hang up because she won't stop.
We do winged hearts. Like my dad went on a train ride. Fear, shame, guilt, judgment. Big star and little star, Indian princesses. You know what I mean?
After she got divorced, my husband and I paid her rent for 3 years. While Jenny had the kids, she did not take care of them as a mother should. She rarely cooked, rarely shopped. She craves going out, partying every night, all night long. At that time, my husband and I decided to intervene. 3 of Jenny's children have been living with us for the last year.
We are not the enemies here. This was a situation that was put on our doorstep.
I want my granddaughter to be in a safe environment, and I really feel strongly that this is the best environment for her. Jenny has a court date next week. Jenny may lose her full parental rights to her daughter. That means no visitation, no contact, nothing. It makes me feel horrible, but she's not capable of being a good mother. I have no other choice.
All right, thank you both for being here. And you've been listening to me
Yes.
talk with Jennifer and ask her some questions. She feels that you have her children, particularly her daughter, and that you have gotten her by means of fraud. And I asked her to kind of tell us why she felt that way. And she said one was that the diagnoses were wrong and that things had been said about her that were not correct. I think she had a difficult time articulating. You weren't looking to raise young children
No.
at this point. You're retired,
That's right.
and this was not something that you had on your plan. What caused you to feel like you had to step in?
Jenny was staying out at night and dragging my granddaughter with her. And when she let us keep her and we would put her to bed, Jenny would come to the door at night and ask for money. If we confronted her about it, we ended up having to call the police to get her to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Even since we have had custody of my granddaughter, we have had to call the police when she comes to the door to get her to leave. Which you know is true, Jenny. Your favorite psychologist diagnosed you clearly as bipolar. Daddy and I were there. And called a psychiatrist friend of hers and made an appointment for you. You accepted the diagnosis, but you refused to keep the appointment.
So, okay, in response to that, I don't recall the police ever coming out. I've called the police on you guys to have my children given back to me while you kept them. That's all I have on record. And I've known you said that, but really there would be no reason to, because I've never been violent there. And I remember, yes, she was concerned that I was bipolar, as well as guide me towards my career as a massage therapist, but she's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. And I did do the diagnosis with an excellent doctor and the evaluation, and that's not what came up. She's not, they have to do an evaluation with all these questions. I didn't have that.
She recommended a good psychiatrist, and you refused to go.
She recommended a doctor that I went to once, and he did not do an evaluation.
Were you showing up at their doorstep demanding money and refusing to leave if they didn't give it to you?
I did do that before.
Were you showing up demanding money and you take your daughter if they didn't give you money?
No, I would take my daughter, and it was weird. They wouldn't want me to take her anywhere. I felt like they were taking over my parental role before I left.
Well, but were you showing up late at night wanting to take your daughter out after she was gone to bed and
One
all
time,
that?
because I knew that the more that they kept her, in any place I was at was wrong, and I understand.
But is that reasonable parenting to show up late at night, knocking on doors saying, give me money or my daughter? I mean, is that reasonable behavior?
It sounds very abnormal, but I mean, I haven't heard of any other family knowing their daughter's going through a hardship, keeping only the child and locking the daughter out.
I've expended approximately $200,000 in paying for our rent, our gas, car, food, etc.
I wish you had helped me with an attorney.
Jenny, we paid $2,300 a month plus utilities.
And later, stop telling me what you're getting ready to tell me and just say it. What is the perspective that's being left out? Say it. And trailing suited to her needs, right?
That's correct.
And to encourage the child's relationship with her parents and relatives, and to cooperate with visiting arrangements between the child and the parents, right? So you understand that, and you're fine with that under healthy conditions, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
And you're good with that, right?
Yes, I am.
But have you been concerned with the shape and condition in which she sometimes wanted to be with or take her daughter?
I have. And the present arrangement is she has visitation with her daughter, supervised 3 times a week. And unfortunately, she lacks transportation, so she misses maybe a third of these visitations. And in addition, she's late for just about every visitation she's there. And we hope that we can get her help. And I also heard a few moments ago that we had not provided financial help to her, whereas the reality is over the past 5 years, I've expended approximately $200,000 in paying for her rent for 5 years, her gas, furnish a car, food, etc. And we simply hope that she can get well and be able to be a good parent for her daughter. But we don't see that happening unless
Are
she
you
gets
saying
some
that's
kind
not
of
true?
help.
There's more to it. That it's the mean that when I divorced, I feel that I was struggling, not working, and you did help. I was grateful.
Jenny.
But you also claimed me as a total dependent.
Jenny, we paid $2,300 a month plus utilities.
I'm grateful for that. I am so grateful. I really thought you wanted
for
my
4
kids.
years.
And when I moved when I divorced for the first 6 months, I lived on my own. I made it.
You were evicted.
I was not evicted from that place.
This is a level of
Right.
detail that I think is really bogging down here. The point is,
Well,
you say he claimed you as a total dependent. I think you were beyond a total dependent. We did the math on this actually, and I looked at money Ann and Charles have spent on Jennifer and the grandchildren. I mean, it started back in '98. Wedding reception, $12,000. Vacation, $6,000. Bailed out of jail for DUI, $1,000. Attorney for second DUI, $5,000. Rent, utilities for 3 years, $82,800. One car wrecked and one given away, $6,000. Unpaid cash loan, $6,300. Grandchildren, food and lodging, very conservatively estimated at $16,800. Approximate cash given to Jennifer over 7 years, $30,000. That all totals up just that to $165,900, and that's not everything. That's just some of the main categories. I think if you add all the things together, I think it's well in excess of $200,000 across time. So,
looks bad.
well, it doesn't look bad. It just is what it
makes
is.
me look, and I. The thing
It's
is,
not bad, good or bad. It just is what it is.
right? I agree. I like that. It is, but I do have to say that there is also the problem that I had is that when I stopped getting, I used to get $2,000 a month. I wish you had helped me with an attorney, because what I'm saying is that I'm saying this because I'm very much for not being a victim of anything, but you guys knew that my ex-husband was making a lot more money, and instead of maybe trying to talk to him, you would still babysit for him. Do you put that on there, and not say, why are you letting him in your house doing things for him for free, and then telling me how I have no money? I had given my career as a trainer for my kids. was left with no money.
Excuse me. What's your
Yeah.
point? Is there a point to this?
Yes, I'm having a hard time, Dr. Phil. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take a break. Next, we're going to add Jennifer's 18-year-old daughter, Sarah. She feels her mother is unfit to raise any children, and we're going to add her to this conversation next. And then I want to start talking about some of the things that these folks have had to react to. And you kind of wonder sometimes when grandparents step in, if there's resentment and blame, when there should be a really big thank you. We'll talk about that when we come back.
I believe my mom's mentally ill right now. If my mom stays the way she is now forever, I don't think my sister should ever live with her again.
And later,
My granddaughter told me that one night when you were fighting with a boyfriend, she went to look for a knife to help you out.
She told me some things about you all, and I think that's why I'm crazy.
Jennifer is battling her own parents for the custody of her 6-year-old daughter. Now, Jennifer's parents, Ann and Charles, say Jennifer is mentally unstable, so they have applied to actually adopt their young granddaughter. Now, Jennifer's oldest daughter, 18-year-old Sarah, sides with her grandparents because she believes her mother is irrational and, in her words, crazy and just not mentally healthy. Take a look and then we'll meet her.
I believe my mom's mentally ill right now. It's extremely hard to have a conversation with my mother. I feel like she's talking nonsense a lot of the time.
Well, there was the black mold that you can't see behind the walls that can kill people.
For a lot of my life, I felt like I've been more of the mother in the mother-daughter relationship, and me telling her right from wrong, Mom, you can't do that. I definitely feel like it's not fair for other people having to keep taking responsibility for my mom. My mom had us, we're her children. I think it's her responsibility to grow up and take care of us. My mom has always seemed to find men that are completely willing to give her whatever she asks for, a place to stay, money, food, and just basically mooches off of them. I started living with my grandparents when I was 17. There's a lot of structure and routine that my sister and I need as children to just grow up and have a normal life. If my mom stays the way she is now forever, I don't think my sister should ever live with her again.
Okay, I'm glad you're here, and I want to hear what you have to say. My whole purpose in all of this is to set an objective and a goal to try to keep everything going in a positive direction. But you can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't work on what is not on the list. And the truth is, you feel that your mother is not acknowledging the reality of what's going on here. True?
True. I feel like right now you're just acting like you're just not admitting to the mistakes that you know you've made. You told me you're going to come on this show and you're going to try and get help and you're going to try and get me back, but to do that, you can't sit here and just point the finger on everyone else. I understand that, yeah, you believe some things didn't work out the way they should and some things were said about you that weren't true, but if you really want help, you're going to have to man up and say, I shouldn't have done that. I should have been a better parent. I should have done these things, and I'm willing to change and I'm willing to be that person, instead of just sit here and say, well, they only gave me this money because of this and they only did this because of this. Just say, thank you for the help, and I don't want you to have to give me that help anymore. I want to be able to do that on my own.
Sarah, thank you. I thought that I said that, and I do admit. But what specifically I was targeting is I feel that there's a different perspective that is being left out here, that is a key factor, and it's not to,
okay,
to
what
change
is it? Stop telling me what you're getting ready to tell me and just say it. What is the perspective that's being left out? Say it. What is it?
It's a cycle right now, and yes, I have made mistakes. Yes.
What is being left out?
Okay,
Mom,
No, stop. Give me, what is it that's being left out? Fill it in. Fill in the blank.
It is that in November when I moved out of my condo and the things that have happened, I was hospitalized. I had a subconjunctival hemorrhage. I'm not a victim. And my dad would sit in a different booth when we'd go out with my daughter with his back to me because he doesn't like me. And he says exactly the same things my ex-husband used to say. You clearly knew that I was not a perpetrator of domestic violence. You know that I was never a victim. You found me in cars in a fetal position. You knew when I had that hemorrhage in my face. Why didn't you say, this is off? I never lost custody. He had a felony arrest.
It was wrong.
I was not arrested because it's a pattern. That's a thought of a way of life where I'm a crazy person. I'm this, and I have acted crazy. But I'm telling you, it's imperative when someone who had a down, when there's only people around who point out the fault and exaggerate all that. It's detrimental.
All right, Jennifer.
Is what I'm saying. I'm agreeing that I made mistakes.
I'm going to interrupt you here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's illegal too in the court. It's not funny. It's not, because I'm not a victim, but they're supposed to handle cases a certain way. And
Jennifer, is your point that there have been times when you have been attacked and beaten that your family could have come to your aid and protection and they failed to do so in a timely and responsive fashion?
That's not what I'm saying is that they're leaving out information. And what I'm saying is that it does.
Well, then let me
ask
you some questions, Sarah, if I can then, and maybe this can fill in. Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you. You got in a fight with her, with hair pulling and
Yeah.
all that, to the point that they had to separate y'all, give you separate rooms.
Yes, I said I was going to call the police on her, and we ended up getting in a fight.
And later, Jennifer, just talk to me. You're talking
Well, I'm
to the
kind of
foursome.
upset with you a little bit. You're sitting here, I feel in a daze.
Has your mother attempted to perform an exorcism on you?
Yeah, she's gone to a point where when she gets angry, she will get in like outrageous, like crazy fights with people, and she would just get so angry that she's ruthless, and she'll say whatever she wants, and she'll make the other person so angry, and I would get so mad, and she would say things to me like, "Whoever you are inside of Sarah, get out in the name of the Father, Son," and act like as if I'm getting an exorcism.
Has this happened in the car?
I think it was at my grandparents' house. She did it to my grandpa.
She exercised me also.
Okay, she's done it with you too. I'm speaking to them for a minute.
I know.
I talked to you and I didn't let anybody interrupt you. I
Thank
want to
you.
ask some questions here. Now, did you get into a confrontation with her to the point that you walked to Newport?
One time I just couldn't be around her because we went to lunch and she ended up bringing some like homeless friend that she had there, and I just didn't want to be around her.
And you got in a fight with her, with hair pulling and
Yeah.
all that, to the point that they had to separate y'all, give you separate rooms.
Yes, she was drinking, and I said I was going to call the police on her, and we ended up getting in a fight, and my brother went downstairs and got the hotel security, and they ended up just asking me if I wanted to call the police or just get another room, and I just didn't want any more confrontation, so I just got another room.
Okay, and you said that you've filled in a lot doing mothering of your little sister.
Yes.
In helping out your grandparents, and you said part of the problem is that your mother just doesn't believe in school.
Yeah, she refused to take her to school, and then she didn't like one of the principals at one school, so she wouldn't take her there, and she took her out of like 2 different schools, and then finally just stopped taking her to kindergarten until that's when my grandparents really had to
No,
step
it's
in and get
that's the
custody so they would be able to take her to school, because my grandpa would have to bribe my mom so he could go and pick my little sister up and take her to school in the morning.
And you said there were times where she would pick her up hours late at school or at the Y.
Yeah, she
right?
would either have my grandparents pick them up, but then she got mad at them and took them off the list. And sometimes I would even go pick up because she could never be anywhere on time, so she would never be able to be there by the time limit of like when they can be there, and all the charges, of course, my grandparents would pay.
It's a program.
Yeah, it is true.
It's a program. It's all the same things, and I have been late.
No,
but
it's not. We're saying the same things. We're saying the same things.
I know,
Yeah, you're right.
you're leaving
but
a big
we're all
factor
telling the
out.
truth.
Yeah, but did you? Well, I asked you about the factor, and I couldn't get to it. But did you tell the people at the social services agency that you felt like they were a human trafficking agency
no,
using children to create federal funding?
no. I quoted what I heard on news.
Did your daughter tell social services that you didn't feed her?
Yeah, that's been said about me for years.
Have y'all
You
noticed that
wouldn't
she
let me.
hoards food?
I'm not allowed to take care of my child.
Did your daughter tell social services that you didn't feed her?
Yeah, that's been said about me for years. They checked
No,
my
but did your
refrigerator.
daughter tell
I don't
social
believe.
services that you didn't feed her?
I don't believe she said any of that. It says she said that she's afraid of me and that
Did she tell them that you slapped her and called her names?
she said that she was afraid of me, but I don't think she said that. Other people said that they were concerned for her safety.
Did she tell them that you didn't bathe her?
Yes, I don't know if she told them that or not, but that's what she hears everyone say all the time, because that's the same thing everyone says about me. They say it so much, that's why I'm not allowed there. I requested to be the only one to bathe her.
Have you
to be the
noticed
only
that
one to
she
take care of
hoards?
her.
Have y'all
You
noticed
wouldn't
that
let
she
me.
hoards food?
I'm not allowed to take care of my child.
She,
Have you noticed that she hoards food? She
when
eats part
she
of it and
came
saves part of
to
it.
us, she said, "Grandma, can I make a sandwich?"
She overeats with you guys.
She doesn't overeat.
I don't.
She said, "Grandma, may I make a sandwich?" And I said, "Sure," because she's a very independent little girl. And she made a sandwich, cut it in half, ate half, and I said, "Put the other half in the fridge. Grandpa'll eat it. He eats everything." And
He does.
yes, he does. She said no. She wrapped it and took it to bed with her.
Okay,
I don't think
you do a
would
great
ever-
job. Thank you.
Mom. And that time in your life, you were so caught up with the mold and the apartments. Oh, when we
Did
were
you
at,
believe that each apartment you were in had mold?
I had it tested. It was uninhabitable. She was on a breathing machine. I had rash. I'm not making this up. I didn't bring the documentation.
Did you say you believe that the government was actually run by the drug mafia?
No, I never said that.
You never said that.
I never said that. What I had said, which is ridiculous when I was first in the courts, is you go to these classes that are empowerment and they teach you how to have healthy relationships, 10-week courses. Sarah did one with me. And there's things I learned that are patterns when there's someone who is that are common, and the things are associated with organized crime and whatever. And I was quoting what I learned in the classes in regards to what I thought was happening with my ex and the family. And basically, I was misquoted the entire time. And I look like an idiot. I think it's funny too, and I really am not
Well, I'm glad you're clearing that
defensive. But the thing is, it's
No, I'm
been,
glad you're clearing
I
it up.
do,
That's
I
why
look
I'm giving
like
you
an
a
idiot.
chance to clear it
And
up.
also too, on one social worker's report, my car had broken down, which I didn't have a car, is why I'm late to my visits. And
Why
I have
don't
no
you
car.
have a car, Jenny? We
Because
gave you one.
I couldn't afford to pay all the parking tickets I got for the street sweeping. It's true. And I went to pay them, and I was a little short, but they didn't accept payments. So it was towed off private property, but I couldn't afford to get it out. So I think that for me, getting rides to see my daughter.
You not know, once you get a parking ticket, you know they'll give you a parking ticket there, right?
Right. Well, it's street sweeping. You don't know the days. You can't always see. And I was looking for
There are
places to stay.
always
It's the
signs
truth.
on
It
the
sounds
street.
ridiculous,
There
but
are
I didn't
always
have
signs.
anywhere.
So
That's
you got
how
so
it
many
was.
tickets that you lost your car?
Yes.
Yeah. If you imagine though, I never had problems like this with my housing
Perfectly
before. I was a
good
good
car.
tenant.
Okay,
And-
there's one
and-
more family member who says he has basically cut his mother out of his life. It's Jennifer's
Yeah.
20-year-old
I
son,
don't like
Josh.
this.
He's going to join us next. We'll be right back.
Are you going to let me?
My mother, because she's been seen out with her at 3 in the morning in her car seat, still up. My mother has extreme mood swings from highs to lows. At 1 minute, she'll be really happy, and the other, she could be extremely angry.
Well, we're out of time today. Tomorrow, things heat up even more. We'll hear from Jennifer's 20-year-old son, Josh, who says he excommunicated his mother from his life. He wants to confront Jennifer face to face. Jennifer also insisted that producers set up a drug test to prove she's not addicted as her family claims. We're going to find out if she passes. You will not want to miss this. Take a look.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
That's the way my brain is wired. I get lost in different things. And how do I
Mom, you
pass?
say you want to get better. You're making
Can I
no
st-
effort.
Where's my opportunity to talk just because
You've been talking the whole time.
When her family can't get through to her,
Jennifer, just talk to me.
Well, I'm kind of upset with you a little bit.
Dr. Phil stops the show
I'm going to excuse you four.
and has a one-on-one.
I felt it was important for me to let my
Jennifer.
daughter know.
Jennifer, I need you to stop talking for a minute.
I can't. I have a disorder and I get nervous.
I need you to
I get
stop
in
talking.
trouble. I think you only want me to say on your viewpoint, and I think the direction is incorrect.
I need
here.
you to stop talking.
I'm not at you.
What?
I'm not at you.
That's tomorrow. all-new Dr. Phil. From well-off to flat broke.
She's a hoarder. She had no money to pay her bills.
She has her car repossessed.
She had no utilities.
Because all her savings
Almost $250,000.
goes to men she's never met.
And now you're sending him gift cards, and he's saying he can't get here. Have you talked lately?
We said hi.
He has $250,000 of your dollars, and you don't have anything to say to him?
His intent was to pay me back.
I have his phone number. Would you like to call him? Let's do it.
Good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. My guest today, Gail, is here for one reason and one reason only, to meet the man of her dreams. But there's a catch. Her daughters, Stacy and Tracy, say their mom's Prince Charming is not going to show up. Stacy and Tracy say their mom's boyfriend, Matt Hurley, is a scammer. But she is so blinded by love. Last year, they say Gail was living without running water, without heat, without air conditioning, and not taking vital diabetes medication, and living with a 2-foot flood in her basement in order to save money so she could send it to her boyfriend in Nigeria. Now, Gail says despite what her daughters say, she knows without a shadow of a doubt that she is not being scammed. And she believes I am the right person to help bring her boyfriend, Matt Hurley, back to the United States. So what have we discovered during our international investigation of Matt Hurley, and will he show up? And what does the actor Vin Diesel have to do with all of this? That will all be revealed later in the hour. But first, let's hear from Gail's youngest daughter, Stacy.
About 4 years ago, I introduced my mom to online dating. A few days after she made her online profile, she received an email from a guy named Fallon Gavin. I immediately knew it was a scam. She had an online relationship with this guy Fallon for over a year and then just cut it off. After this falling out with Fallon, she started talking to a new guy named Matt Hurley. Mom has fallen for Matt and believes that Matt will get out of Nigeria and come to the U.S. to be with her. Just when I thought nothing could get any worse, she was getting messages from someone posing as Vin Diesel, who went by the name Mark Sinclair, which is actually his legal name. My mom really thought she was talking to Vin Diesel. He told my mom that he was being held hostage and needed assistance. Mom has sent almost $250,000 to these scammers.
But I'm telling you right here and now, I do not want money brought up.
You get mad at us, but we're trying to help you. They have ruined her financially, and she's broke. She had her car repossessed. Mom is type 2 diabetic, and instead of buying her meds, she was sending her money to Matt Hurley. At one point, a pipe had busted in her basement, and it filled it with 2 feet of water, and she didn't have money to fix it. This has got to stop. Mom just doesn't get it, and I'm in a total loss. If something doesn't change, I'm gonna have to wash my hands of it and walk away.
You've talked to her about these guys. She watches Dr. Phil. You've watched Dr. Phil. You know that it takes hard evidence, that you've got to confront this situation, not with just your opinion. Oh, gee, Mom, I don't know. You've hit her with hard evidence.
Yes, we have. We have found out that that this man is a motivational speaker, and we've shown her pictures, videos, and she does not believe us.
Let's look at a timeline of how this went, because this is such a cautionary tale for people, because it was in November of 2017, so the end of the year, she creates a dating profile, and you encouraged her to do this, to reach out, right?
Yes, I did.
And in that month, that first month, she meets this Fallon Galvin. And then in February, this Galvin says that he's in trouble. He needs help, which is what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she cashes in her 401k. And that's something that she built up across 40 years. Then in March of 18, you guys show her the man behind the photos of Fallon Galvin. You say, look, we found the man that's attached to this picture, and it's not Fallon Galvin, and he's not talking to you. This is the man. Somebody's stolen his picture and has assigned a name to him, Fallon Galvin, and that's not who you're talking to. Somebody has stolen his identity, and so she stops talking to him or stops responding to him, at least temporarily, right?
Yes, that is correct.
But the very next month, she meets Matt Hurley. A year later, she has her car repossessed. And you discover that she's sending money to him as well.
That is correct.
Right? And you found at one point she sent him $12,000 in gift cards.
Yes.
What did you confront her with this?
Yes.
What'd she say?
I did confront her, and she is the one that I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Should have shut down.
But she believes that he's the one. But yet, in January of 20, fast forward to January of 20, she meets Mark Sinclair. At that point, you find out that her taxes are overdue.
Yes.
I mean, she could actually lose her house now. They could seize the house for taxes, sell it at auction, and she would be homeless because she would have no money at all. Now, in June, you take her phone away from her, right?
I did.
And you message Matt Hurley.
I did.
Her stand-in, her Social Security payee, right?
My sister.
Her
Tracy.
sister did. All right. So at that point, there's some control of the money, so the back taxes get paid, so she doesn't lose the house.
That is correct.
Thank God for that. And then in December, just a few months ago, this Fallon Galvin shows back up. This is after Matt Hurley and after Mark Sinclair. He shows back up on the scene and wants her to sell her house to give him some more money.
That is correct.
That is gutsy. That is gutsy. Just not long ago, you guys had her phone turned off.
Yes.
But do you think she's not in contact?
I feel like there's some way there's contact. I feel like bank account information has been sent over.
Yeah, she's found some way.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about Stacy's mom, Gail. She watches Dr. Phil. She has seen past episodes on romance scams. So why does she feel that her boyfriend is the exception that proves the rule? Why does she think he's different? Why has she not learned the lessons that we have pounded and pounded and pounded here on this platform? I'm going to ask her that question right after the break.
I'm currently in a relationship with Matt Hurley. I do find him sexy. My daughters think he's just a scammer. I just can never see him scamming anybody. I'm really looking forward to the day Matt and I get to meet. I'm going to give him a big old hug and maybe a kiss on the cheek.
That Dr. Phil can give her the reality check that she so desperately needs.
Well, Stacy says her 68-year-old mom, Gail, is blinded by love. And when we say blinded, we mean really overlooking some huge red flags. But Gail says her relationship couldn't be clearer because she has been happily committed to Matt Hurley for the past 4 years. Now, Gail says her daughter Stacy has nothing to be concerned about and is here today to prove her wrong, Take a look.
The world of online dating is different. If you don't watch out, you can really get hooked into a crazy. I'm currently in a relationship with Matt Hurley. My ideal guy is a Christian man who's faithful, caring, loving, giving, understanding. Matt is all that. I just can never see him scamming anybody. Matt calls me honey all the time, but when we were texting one time, he hit the B, so there was honey bee. And I told him, I think that's cute. And ever since then, I've just been his little honeybee. There's one picture I have of him that he's dressed in black and he's got white hair like me. When I look at this one picture that I have of him, I do find him sexy. He's relaxing in his recliner. He's got his 2 puppy dogs. He doesn't like me to call him sexy. He gets embarrassed by it. Matt became a marine engineer. The oil rig that he was working off the coast of Venezuela got damaged, and he had to go to Nigeria to purchase materials to repair the oil rig. Unfortunately, he's not able to purchase a ticket to get back to the States. Matt's been living in a hotel in Warri, Delta State, Nigeria for the last 2 years. He's stuck in Nigeria. Matt and I do not have the funds to purchase a plane ticket for his return to the States. I know my daughters have real strong opinions about this online relationship, but now it's Mama's time. My daughters don't think he's real and think he's just a scammer.
Stacy wrote Dr. Phil because she was upset he had sent some money.
Oh, do we have to go into this money situation? I prefer not. I'm not going to speak of money. I'm really looking forward to the day Matt and I get to meet. It's going to be one awesome day. One thing I do know, I'm taking this COVID very seriously. When he makes it back to the States, no matter how anxious we are to see each other, he has got to go in quarantine for 14 days. The first thing I'm going to do when we see each other and he comes out of quarantine, I'm going to give him a big old hug and maybe a kiss on the cheek.
Well, Gail, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you want to know the truth?
Definitely.
Whatever it is.
Yes, yes.
Because let me tell you, I go into things with an open mind. I let data drive my positions and my decisions. So I don't come into a situation with any preconceived notions. I don't give people the benefit of the doubt. And I don't prejudge them. I say, let's see what the data says. Mm-hmm. And I just follow the evidence. Are you willing to do the same thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you about one thing. I do have priorities, and my number one priority is you.
Yes.
I want you to be safe, you to be happy, you to be sound, you to have a happy future. But you have to be open-minded.
Yes.
And I will be. Mm-hmm. My team has told me that you've not been very forthcoming about your past online boyfriends, that you want to talk about Matt Hurley and all, and I do too, but I need to look at the pattern here to see if it tells me anything. So I have spent some time looking at Fallon Galvin and Mark Sinclair, and the whole relationship is relevant to me. The romance, the communication, the finances, the geography. I look at everything, and you need to be willing to do the same thing. Easy or hard, you need to be willing to do the same thing. And you need to trust me. I know what I'm doing here. He said, I've not felt the love of a woman for a long time now, and I really miss it. When I saw that, it struck a chord with me, because I thought, I've read that before. Doing a quick review of Fallon Gavin. His occupation was a contract engineer, and he was born in Quebec. Mm-hmm. He lived in Texas, and he's a widower, and he had one daughter, but not really much known about her. He likes concerts and reading and cooking, and there was a horrific accident involving him, right? Was he in the accident?
No. No, he was not in there.
Who was the horrific accident involving?
His workers.
His workers.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I want to look at one of the initial emails you got from Fallon. This is to you from him. He said, I've not felt the love of a woman for a long time now, and I really miss it. To be sincere, am scared, but just want to be bold and move forward. I'm a one-man to one-woman relationship type, and when I love real hard. I listen to my partner and understands a lot. The work I do makes a difference. I love everything about construction, building new things, building houses, hospitals, construction of roads, underground. So he was really forthcoming about his emotions and what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when I saw that, it struck a chord with me. And I thought, it was particularly this part in here about one man, one woman, and building of houses, hospitals, roads, structures, underground pipelines. That stuck in my mind because I've never known an engineer that did all different kinds of things. They either build buildings or pipelines. I've never met one that did both, and that stuck out to me because I thought, I've read that before. And lo and behold, let me show you what I found. There is a website called pigbusters.net. And look at what he says. I have not felt the love of a woman for a long time now. And I went, and here, I have not felt the love of a woman for a long time now. It was right here on this website. The work I do makes a difference. I love everything about construction. Houses, hospitals, construction of roads. I go here and it says, I love everything about construction. Houses, hospitals, roads. It was word for word, syllable for syllable, identical.
I see that.
Fallon Gavin didn't write that. They plagiarized that. What do you think about that?
Well, I wished I'd known about that website.
When I see that, I know that this man is not sitting there sending you emails that he's writing out. So I looked at another one. This is what I call the special someone email. I know that we've been through so much in our lives that I honestly don't know what I'd do without you. I've never believed there was that special someone until I met you. I've been hurt many times before, and I didn't know if I could handle anything at the time until you came into my life. Boy, it makes a girl's heart beat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That special someone. Well, since I was on Pigbusters, I thought, well, wonder if this one's on there. And so I ran it through the checker. And sure enough, word for word, identical. There it is on Pigbusters.
Oh my.
Plagiarized. So what you've got is somebody sitting in a computer room with a wall full of women, and he says, okay, woman number 17 is Gail. I'll send her message 137, then I'll send her 148, then 217. And just so I don't send her the same one twice, they keep a running record of it. Now, we have one loose end to tie up with Fallon Galvin. Now, even if Gail does not want to hear this, viewers at home will. I'm going to reveal a very important piece of evidence and also meet Gail's older daughter, Tracy, who had to take over her mother's finances to protect her. We'll be right back.
My tipping point was when I found out the amount of money my mom had given away. I was livid. My mom is living in a complete fantasy world.
I have two daughters. My oldest one's Tracy, and I have a second one, Stacy.
Tracy and my mom's relationship is very strained.
Tracy and I had a good relationship, but when Matt come along, she rolled her eyes and she just wasn't for it.
Mom feels like Tracy is too controlling and needs to stay out of our business. If my sister Tracy and I don't keep tabs on Mom, this whole thing is going to spiral more and more out of control.
We've been talking to Stacy and her mom, Gail, who has been pretty tight-lipped when it comes to her personal relationships, except for the one with her online boyfriend. She has never personally met Matt Hurley. Now, Gail has another concerned daughter, Tracy, who says her mother's online boyfriends have really torn their family apart.
My mom is living in a complete fantasy world. Her online relationships have put a wedge in our relationship. I do know that my mom doesn't want me involved in this. She knows how I feel. We don't believe anything she says anymore. My tipping point was when I found out the amount of money my mom had given away. She had given away her life savings. I was livid. I had to step in. Last year, I applied to become my mom's Social Security payee. There were back taxes owed. She had credit cards she was behind on. Her car got repossessed. When I took over my mom's finances, she was not happy. She told me that I just needed to stop it, that I was ruining our relationship. In my eyes, I was just trying to save her from herself. I do still love her, but I need her to come to her senses.
Now, joining us virtually is Gail's oldest daughter, Tracy. You're concerned that this individual, whoever it really is, actually got to your mother financially in a significant way, right?
Yes. My sister had come across information, images of the checks.
You were saying you thought it could be as much as $170,000.
Yes.
Well, that's outrageous. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. Way too much money. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you said you didn't want to talk about money. Why not?
After the fact, see the mistake, and I just want to forget it and move on.
Well, but you can't change what you don't acknowledge, and you're wrong. She really didn't send him $170,000. During the month of February of 18, she had 5 different transactions for a grand total of $230,000.
Oh my God.
And you may not even know that total yourself. How long did it take you to save that money, Gail? Long time.
Yes.
What did Fallon Galvin look like? Describe him to me. Is he tall, blonde, short? What did he look like?
Well, I don't know what his height was. He was an attractive man.
Light complected, dark complected?
No, he was light.
Light complected?
I think he was light complected.
The actual person is,
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's who it actually is.
Well, that's not the picture that I had of Fallon.
Yeah. Well, this is the individual that's behind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the real person.
Okay.
The man's name is Daniel, and he lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And this is the picture here, and he doesn't want his picture shown. But that's not who you had a picture of, right?
No, no.
This is a completely different individual.
Yes. Correct.
Have you talked to Fallon lately?
A month or two ago, we said hi.
Well, he has $250,000 of your dollars,
Yeah.
and you don't have anything to say to him?
Well, yeah, I told him I wanted my money back.
And what's he say about that?
Well, he kept saying his intent was to pay me back.
I have his phone number. Would you like to call him?
Is he going to give me my money back?
I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what he says.
Me too.
Well, I guess.
What do you think he would say if you called him?
I don't know. We'd have to find out.
Well, you want to call him? You've got your phone right there.
Oh, I didn't bring my glasses.
Here, I'll punch in the numbers for you. So we don't say them out loud.
Have dialed is not in service. Please check the number and dial again. Or dial 611 for customer assistance. Message TT20.
Huh.
Is right.
Well, we have another number we can try.
Call rejected.
Uh-huh. Seems like he's a little hard to get in touch with now. Not surprising, is it?
Well, I mean, if you contacted him?
Well,
That's why he's probably blocked me.
Well, we've done a lot of investigating and found some information out about him, so he may be feeling some heat here. Let's move on to her current boyfriend. Awful lot of unknowns about this guy.
You know, I don't care anything about who his ex-wife was.
Here are the overall findings that our investigator did on the man behind Fallon Gavin. The man behind the scam in Atlanta, Georgia, addresses numbers that are linked to this man's business. And they blocked the IP address. And there is no Fallon Galvin in Texas. The producer spoke to the man behind the photos you've been seeing, and he's never talked to you at all.
Okay.
I mean, those were stolen photos, stolen ID. He knows nothing about you, never talked to you at all.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with you. And the man in the pictures is not Fallon Galvin. So the pictures that you've been looking at are not Fallon Galvin. This man is not Fallon Galvin. The man that we traced in Atlanta, Georgia is not Fallon Galvin. But the numbers that are associated with where you've been sending money and calling and all these contacts traced to this person in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And the real man behind the pictures is a public figure, so he didn't want to.
Yeah, I know.
But we have information that you can use to pursue and seek to prosecute the individual because we've traced it to some places, so we can give you some information about that.
Good.
Okay. So that's where we are on Fallon Galvin. Now, let's move on to her current boyfriend, Matt Hurley. When she asked me to bring Matt back to the U.S. from Nigeria, that's what you said. Dr. Phil, can you help me get him here from Nigeria? Because he's stuck there and doesn't have the money to get here, right?
Right.
And you don't have any more money to send him.
Right.
According to what you know, Matthew Hurley was born on 11/30/1960. He's from Birmingham in the UK, vacations in Manassas, Virginia. He worked in Zulia, Venezuela, marine engineer, duties unknown, company unknown, college unknown, parents unknown, the date that they deceased unknown. He has an estranged sister, name, age, and location unknown. Relationship status divorce. The name of his ex and the reason all unknown. Friends unknown. Has some work acquaintances. Donates to an unknown charity. He's a Christian. Likes soccer and follows the news. Awful lot of unknowns about this guy. And you've been knowing him how long?
4 years.
4 years. There's a lot of unknowns up there. You don't know much about him.
But I didn't, I don't care anything about who his ex-wife was. I guess I'm just not a person who gets into other people's business.
Seeing how little Gail knows about her current boyfriend, Matt Hurley, I wonder if the audience would feel better about him after hearing these nice words Gail says he told her throughout the course of their relationship. Honey, words can't express how truly I love you. Your love can never vanish from my heart. You made me a complete man. I love you to the moon and back. You are always on my mind. Maybe it's Willie Nelson.
That's right.
When the world comes to an end, I'll still love you, honey. We both need each other. I need you every day of my life. I'm going to take good care of you and do everything. Now, let me just ask the audience, based on what you know so far, how many of you are really buying this Matt Hurley guy? No?
I wouldn't buy with her.
Thumbs down on Matt Hurley? You're not believing him?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Nope. But he said you're always on my mind.
Oh my God.
These are the gift cards that you've sent him. That's what $12,000 worth of gift cards look like. It seems pretty outrageous, doesn't it? Well, Stacy and Tracy say their mom, Gail, has sent $12,000 to her online boyfriend, Matt Hurley. And Gail is defensive when talking about money, but denial just isn't a river in Africa, and it won't get her anywhere on this stage.
Oh my God.
These are the gift cards that you've sent him. That's what $12,000 worth of gift cards look like. When you put them all in one place, it seems pretty outrageous, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because you're not a wealthy woman.
No.
Certainly not after Fallon Galvin. He did a cashotomy on you for $230,000, and now you're sending him gift cards, and he's saying he can't get here, even though you sent him $12,000. Now, what do you think when you look at that? You didn't think of it adding up to that much, being that substantial while you were doing it, right?
No.
It's a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. What do you think?
I'm disgusted. I just can't.
Tracy, what do you think?
Yeah, it just makes me sick to my stomach.
She worked hard for that money.
Yes, I did.
Yes, she did.
Well, here's a text from Matt to Gail concerning me. Matt says, have I ever done something without telling you? And they're talking about coming here. And Gail says, it's for us to finally get to be with one another, Matt. You're making me sad, honey. Consider a loan if you must. Matt, this is not a loan. You want to embarrass me. I don't want anything from Phil. He's not us and knows nothing about us. You either choose Phil or me. Don't go to any Phil. If you go, I'll move on and stop talking to you.
That's what he said.
Reckon why he didn't want you talking to me? Well, Stacy, you started talking to him back when you got her phone, right?
Yes.
June 25th. Matt, how are you doing, my love? Thinking he's talking to Gail. Stacy says, listen here, blank, blank. I accuse that somewhere along the lines of you son of a bitch. I know you're scamming my mother. We're investigating you. My mother no longer has this phone. Stop messaging her. Matt, this is very bad to conclude someone. Notice he didn't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
He just said, this is very bad to conclude someone.
Yes.
Now, he's from where?
Originally, he's from Birmingham, UK.
Uh-huh. That's odd structure of the English language, even in England.
That is exactly what I told her.
Stacy, you say, she is cut off. She has no phone, and you are not the person in the picture. I'm not stupid or gullible to believe you. Then July 9th, video call, Stacy, that's why you won't answer. Matt, hello, please give the phone to her. I need to talk to my woman. Stacy, she's not your woman. You're a liar. Stop messaging. Matt, hello, don't talk to me in this manner. I'm not a scammer, and I can prove to you. Stacy, you're not the guy in the picture. Look, stop talking me down. I need to talk with my woman, please. Very important. Then August 7th, he says, hello, honey. Now, in the middle of all of this, you meet another guy named Mark Sinclair, who looks a whole lot like Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. He does.
And Mark says that he's been captured. He's being held captive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. He told me that he'd been captive. Captured. Mm-hmm.
Who captured him? I mean, wouldn't you think he would fastly and furiously get away from there?
Well, you would think, wouldn't you, with him being Vin Diesel?